The story begins in the first restaurant, where many chefs were preparing different dishes. A man who was their head was overseeing everyone's work, checking the food to make sure no one made a mistake. Anyway, at first, it's not clear what is going on. Now, the scene shifts to a place that is nothing short of hell. A man's eye opens and his name is Jacob. He finds himself in a concrete cell with a big hole in the center. Jacob sees an old man in front of him who tells him, "We're at level 48. This old man's name is John." Friends, this place resembles a building with many levels, and there are 2 people on each level. We'll find out later how many levels there are, but John provides some information to Jacob, saying, "We are lucky that we are at level 48. I have seen worse levels than this. This place is called a hole. This building is a prison and a rehab center, but it's completely different, and this man, named Jacob, has come here by his own will." Actually, Jacob was addicted to smoking and wanted to quit. He was told that if he stayed in this hole for 6 months, he would lose this bad habit and receive a diploma. However, John was not here by his own will. In fact, John had killed someone unintentionally. In anger at a falsely advertised barber on TV, John threw his television down from his apartment, accidentally killing an illegal immigrant. Originally sentenced for 6 months, John extended his stay, so he has been there for many more months. John tells Jacob that food will come down through a platform every day, but it will be used food. All the people above us on the 47th floor must have eaten from that food, and the rest of the food comes down. Then we will eat from that, and it will continue to go down. Jacob, being new here, finds all of this as strange as we do. There are rules to this place. When the food platform comes down, it stays only for a minute. You must eat whatever you can in that minute. No one can keep food from the platform. If you do, the room will suddenly become hot or cold until that food is thrown back. Otherwise, the temperature can become so extreme that it can even kill a prisoner. Now, John's behavior was not very good. There was little humanity in it, but Jacob is holding up pretty well against it. Jacob starts asking how many levels there are in total, to which John replies maybe about 200. After 30 days, we are shifted to another level. No idea what level we'll go to. I have been to level 136. There are worse conditions there. When the platform reaches the bottom, all the food is finished. It is very difficult to stay alive there. Sometimes one's partner must be eaten. This means that John ate his partner at level 138 because he was on that level for a month and the food did not reach the platform. While talking, the green light turns on instead of the red light. John, having experience here, moves close to the hole and sits. Then the platform comes from above, bearing food that is not in good condition. John starts eating quickly, but Jacob refuses, repelled by the food. He is starving. John warns him, "You are making a mistake, son. Believe me, you are lucky to be on level 48. Anyway, after listening to John, Jacob takes an apple from the food, not yet realizing that eating from the platform is against the rules. As the platform starts going down, John quickly grabs a bottle of wine from it, saying, "Muslims are on the upper level. That's why the wine reached here. Otherwise, it does not usually happen." After drinking the wine, he throws the bottle down. Suddenly, as the platform descends, the room starts getting hot. Jacob asks what is happening, and John explains, "This room will become so hot that it will burn us, and this is because of your mistake, since you ate from the platform." Realizing that the apple is still with him, Jacob quickly throws it down onto the platform, and the room temperature returns to normal. After this, Jacob and John continue to talk. We learn something new about this place. Whenever someone is brought here, they are asked many questions about food, illness, fears, and every prisoner is allowed to bring one thing, and only one thing. It can be anything. Jacob brought a book with him, and John brought the same knife with him that he had seen on TV and, in anger, thrown the TV down. The days pass in this strange routine. One day goes by, and then the next day it happens again. The food comes down from the platform. Old John clings to it and eats as much as he can in the short time, but Jacob does not eat anything that day. To him, it all seems like madness. Anyway, Jacob gets an idea. We should not eat this food that comes from above. It will reach the people below who are starving. We can eat it the next day. But John dismisses him, saying, "Don't be a fool. The people above us don't care. They just have to fill their stomachs. Let the people below die." Even at that time, John urinates on the food on the platform, showing contempt for those below. Jacob, horrified, asks, "Why did you do this? If the people above us do this, how would you feel?" John retorts, "They will do it. They have this power. You and I can't do anything." On the third day, while they were in their cell, Jacob was reading his book when suddenly a man falls from above. But he doesn't fall into anyone's cell. He keeps falling down the hall. He had already died. Jacob asks John who he was. John tells him, "The people above us have become addicted to entertainment. They get all kinds of food and alcohol. And when they don't get it in time, they start going crazy. They become uncontrollable." Some drops of blood land on Jacob's face, which he cleans later. He asks John about the levels he's been to. John replies, "Fortunately, I have been to the higher levels, but the worst was at level 138. We didn't get any food there until the platform reached us. The rest of the people at the upper levels would have eaten everything." Jacob starts to doubt. What did you do with your partner when you didn't get any food for a month? John doesn't answer directly, but it's obvious he must have eaten his own partner to survive. "No," John finally says, "we found a dead body there. My partner and I satisfied our hunger on that body." He also mentions that it was his partner's last month, and now he is gone. While talking, the platform comes down, but this time there's a woman sent to eat with them. John recognizes her, saying, "This is Sophie. Eat your food. Don't worry about her." But Jacob has compassion for her and asks, "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" Sophie says nothing. John explains, "Every month, she sits on this platform and checks every level because she believes that her younger son is somewhere here." Jacob asks in surprise, "Are there children here?" John answers, "Yes, there are children here," adding how disturbing that fact is. After this, the platform starts going down again. But the people from the level below, John and Jacob, catch the woman instead of the food. It appears they have sinister intentions for Sophie. At that time, Jacob was shouting at them, "Let her go." They hear screams, and after a while, Jacob sees that Sophie has killed both the prisoners and again takes her seat on the platform. She always does this. If anyone at a level tries to hurt her, she will kill them in self-defense. But so far, Sophie has not found her son. The days began to pass in this cell, and slowly Jacob got used to the routine, even starting to eat the food with some enjoyment. But, as we know, every 30 days all the prisoners are shifted to another level. That day had come, and in this cell, both of them had completed their 30-day stay. That night, when they were trying to sleep, the gas of unconsciousness filled the hall. John turned to Jacob. "Do you believe in God, son? If you do, then pray that when we open our eyes in the morning, we are on a good level. I like you, but if the situation changes, don't expect better from me. I also have to live." John also confides, "This next month will be my last month. Once it's completed, I'll leave this hell." Jacob asks John if he believes in God, and John replies, "Yes, this month I believed in God." After that night, when Jacob opens his eyes, he finds himself tied to the bed with old John in front of him, who reveals, "We are at level 171. We are in a very dangerous place, son. Food doesn't reach level 130, so there's no hope of food reaching this level." At that time, Jacob was struggling, but John had tied him very tightly. He explains, "You are young, stronger than me. First, you'll be able to control your hunger for a few days, but one day your mind will be ruined, and there's no doubt that you will be overpowered by me, and you'll eat me. It's better to hunt than be prey." But he doesn't kill Jacob suddenly. Instead, he says, "I will wait. Who knows, your luck is good, and food will come from above. If this doesn't happen, I'll slowly start eating you. But I won't kill you. The corpse rots, and we have to keep the meat right." John plans to cut and eat meat from Jacob, keeping him alive, treating his wounds, and breaking him so that he remains living. By doing this, we'll spend 30 days. Now you pray that you can survive for these 30 days. Then both of us will leave here. The first day, when the platform comes down, it was completely clean, devoid of any food, just utensils. The old man tells Jacob, "Did you see? The people above don't care if we die of hunger." Anyway, after 2-3 days when no food comes down, John says to Jacob, "Get ready, son. Now we have no other way." He ties Jacob's mouth and starts cutting meat from his feet. Jacob was suffering from pain, but fortunately, the same girl named Sophie, who keeps coming and going on the platform because her 30 days are over, kills the old man with her knife and helps Jacob. She starts feeding him John's meat because he was dying of hunger. Now, at level 177, Jacob was alone, with only John's body. He was surviving on it. Sophie had already left that day, and Jacob began to hallucinate John. Somehow, 30 days pass by, and Jacob survives on John's body. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself at level 33. He breathes a sigh of relief because he knows that at level 33, he will get better food than at level 43. But this time, Jacob's partner is a woman, and she also has a dog, her favorite thing. Every prisoner was allowed to bring one thing, so this woman brought her dog with her. As soon as Jacob comes to his senses, he tells her, "You shouldn't have brought the animal here. This is a bad idea." Then Jacob remembers that this woman came here of her own will. Her name is Zoe, and she works for the administration, the people who run the system of the hall. Zoe has interviewed every person for the last 25 years who is being brought here. Meanwhile, we're shown a scene from the past where Zoe was interviewing Jacob. She was collecting all the important information from him, what he likes or dislikes, even asking about his favorite dish. Actually, whatever food comes from the platform is prepared at the request of each person. Zoe explains the people of the administration don't know what happens here. I wanted to experience all this myself. That's why I came here. According to Zoe, this system was justifiable. However, she hadn't seen its entirety yet. Jacob informs her that people here are living like animals. Food doesn't reach the lower levels, driving people either to suicide or cannibalism. When the platform descends, Zoe abstains from eating, feeding only her dog. Jacob, curious, asks why. She responds, "One day I'll eat, and the next my dog will. It's about balance." She divides some food onto 2 plates, urging the inmates below, "I've set food aside for you. Eat from this and do the same for the next 2 levels." Her hope was that if everyone followed this system, even those on the very bottom would receive food. However, they retaliate with remarks like, "We'll eat as we please. We know hunger from the lower levels too." Unfazed, Zoe persisted daily, attempting to reason with them. One day, losing patience, Jacob threatens those below, "If you don't follow this lady's instructions, I'll urinate on the food." They complied, but others further below did not. It became clear that Zoe, despite her intentions, was naive about the true nature of the hall and couldn't rectify this broken system. The real reason for Zoe's presence was her terminal cancer diagnosis, and with no hope left, she wanted to spend her remaining days in the hall. As time progresses, they discover an unconscious Sophie on the platform. Hurriedly, Jacob and Zoe bring her to safety and tend to her. Jacob soon realizes the room's temperature dropping. The cause: Zoe's dog had taken food from the platform. Swiftly, Jacob returns the food to the platform. Later that night, as they rest, Sophie awakens and, driven by hunger, kills and eats Zoe's dog. Devastated, Zoe watches Sophie reboard the platform and depart. Their time on level 33 concludes. Jacob, sensing the uncertainty of the next day, urges Zoe to eat. He shares that there are a total of 200 levels. But upon regaining consciousness the following night, he finds himself on level 202. A grim revelation. Food would certainly not reach them here. Looking over, he discovers Zoe's lifeless body, having taken her own life. She'd chosen death over starvation, hoping her sacrifice would ensure Jacob's survival. Grief-stricken Jacob's survival. Grief-stricken Jacob prepares himself for another harrowing 30 days. In the initial days, Jacob, driven by starvation but resisting his basest instincts, attempts to eat the pages of his own book. Despite his efforts not to devolve into a beast, madness slowly encroaches and his hunger becomes unbearable. He spends his time consuming the pages of his book until, in desperation, he starts eating Zoe's body. All the while, he's haunted by hallucinations of John and Zoe. Somehow, Jacob endures these 30 days. When he awakens the next morning, he meets a new cellmate, David. They find themselves on level 6, where the food is abundant and David's mood is buoyant. He had brought a rope with him, holding onto the hope of ascending to the upper level to escape this hell. David calls to the couple on level 5, "Pull me up so I can reach level 0. I believe in God, and he has spoken to me." The man above inquires, "What did God say to you?" David responds, "Whoever helps me will be made immortal by God." Intrigued, the man instructs him to throw up the rope, promising to help. But as David nears, the man betrays him, urinating on him and sending him plummeting down. Saved at the last moment by Jacob, David's hope shatters, realizing he'll never escape. Jacob, having witnessed unimaginable horrors, is mostly silent now, biding his time by waiting for the platform and singing to himself. One night, inspiration strikes. He tells David we don't have to go up. We should go down. I've been as high as level 200, and I've estimated there are up to 250 levels. We'll ride the platform down, withholding food from anyone above level 50. Those above can manage without food for a day. We must get food to those below. The platform rises again. We'll reach level 0. David, invigorated by the plan, lends his support. The next day, they arm themselves by breaking some pipes with a bat, preparing to embark on their daring mission. At each level, different people confront Jacob and David as they make their way downward. Anyone who refuses to listen or takes food meets a deadly fate at their hands. They descend further and encounter a wise individual who tells them, "If you want to fix this system, let a dish reach the last level untouched. When the administration sees it, they will know something is wrong with their system. Only then can we bring change." They take this advice to heart and save a dish, continuing their downward journey. At one level, they witness a man killing Sophie with a knife. They intervene but are seriously injured by the weapons of the people living in that cell. Unstoppable, they pass levels 200, 250, and even 300. The conditions grow worse, with many dead or killing each other. Finally, at the lowest level, 333, they disembark from the platform. Jacob spots a little girl, recalling that she might be Sophie's daughter, whom she never found. Strangely, there's no food, and the girl's survival is a mystery. Soon after, Jacob discovers that David has died. He hands the dish to the girl, haunted by hallucinations of John throughout the night. The next day, he places the girl on the platform, only to see John, who tells him this girl will go up alone. "You can't go with her." Jacob descends, and the platform shoots upward quickly. The movie concludes, leaving a perplexing ending. Despite the appearance of the girl at the end, The real triumph lies in getting the untouched dish to the top. In one scene, we see that the administration knows a dish has reached them after passing through so many levels. Yet, they do not see this as evidence of something wrong with the system. Instead, a supervisor is irate over a hair found in the dish, missing the larger issue at hand. The painful truth is revealed. The system of this hall will never change. Apart from this, friends, take a moment to consider the world we are living in and the kind of society we have created. It doesn't take long to understand this movie as it reflects our society. Every person is divided into different levels, the poor and the rich, and within those categories there are various kinds. The poor have no control over the rich. In this movie, there are scenes that represent the behavior of the wealthy, showing how they look down on those below them with disdain. Every character, every scene represents something from our society, but delving into all of that would make this explanation very lengthy. Once you watch this movie and then sit comfortably to reflect on your society, you won't need anyone's explanation. We are all like Jacob, John, and the rest. Like everyone else, we are trapped in that hall. No one can fix this system, and no one will get what they truly deserve. In the end, the outcomes are stark. Some people lose their lives driven to suicide. Some become slaves to others forever. And some kill or become victims themselves, all to stay alive in a system that seems unchangeable. I hope you like this story. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do so now.